Welcome to this edition of the Hotseat on 933 KFM. I welcome you, our listeners, across this beautiful land, the Pearl of Africa. My name is Patrick Kamara. Tonight, we remember a man who was a member of parliament representing Kawempe North. He's young, was dynamic, he was vocal, he was sensational on social media. He had quite a following, and sometimes he called himself Mr. Update. At the age of only 37, he has succumbed to death. And this man has suffered for quite some time. He's been in many hospitals in Kampala, in Nairobi, in Netherlands, and Germany. I'm talking about the Honorable Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament for Kawempe North on the Noop ticket. He died from Rubaga Hospital today. He was actually pronounced dead at 12:10 p.m. this afternoon. Ssegirinya garnered quite a big support when he was vying for the Member of Parliament seat for Kawempe North. I remember about 41,197 votes in these polls, and getting a resounding victory, beating 9 other candidates, including Latif Sebagala. So this man had been loved and supported by the people of Kawempe North, giving him overwhelming support, such a legitimate and resounding mandate to represent them in the Parliament of Uganda. He was only 37 years old, but even at that age, he has only died at the age of 37, which means he was elected at the age of 32. So he was quite a man of influence. Prior to his death, he was in and out of hospital in Zambia, Rubaga, the Aga Khan Hospital in Nairobi, in Germany, and in Netherlands. Mr. Update is no more. In 2016, he was voted as Lord Councillor for Kampala North. So yes, he's been moving into politics step by step until he becomes a Member of Parliament representing Kawempe North. On the 7th of September 2021, Masaka Chief Magistrate Court remanded Ssegirinya with 4 others on 3 counts of murder and attempted murder, and charges related to alleged involvement in rebel activities in Greater Massacre, charges of subversion. Those are very serious charges that he faced. But proof of allegations were never presented. On the 30th of February 2023, him and MP Alan Sewanyana of Makindi West were released on bail. And that has been the story of a man that perhaps many of you know. So this evening on this show, as we try to get many people to remember the man, we'll also take this program to you, the people, so that you can, in your own words, your own experience, express your sorrow, remember the man that was, in some cases, quite cantankerous, who caused excitement in the parliament, the way how he legislated, the way how he protested. It was quite different, but in his that doing, he was connecting with the people of Kawempe, but also the people of Kampala. So I'm opening the lines early, so that you can have your say on this man who has just passed on. The tentative program for burial, as we know that he died at 12:10 p.m. at Rubaga Hospital. At 5 p.m. today, the body arrived at Makerere Kavule for a night vigil at the party's headquarters. As we speak right now, leaders of the National Unity Platform at the party headquarters are eulogizing Ssegirinya, talking about their colleague, a fellow member of parliament, and the giant of the party. We shall also be talking to the Secretary General of Noop, who I think is coming next to speak at Kavulu, at Makerere Kavule, where the Noop headquarters are. That's where a big number of Noop supporters are. On Friday, which is tomorrow, the body will be taken to Parliament at 9 a.m. for MPs and to pay tribute to him. And later on, the body will also be taken to Mbogo Mosque in Kawempe. After that, the body will be taken to his home in Kasangati for a night vigil before being taken to Massacre. The Honorable Ssegirinya will be buried on Sunday in Butale Kadugala in Massacre district. That's the tentative program that we have. But we know that even though he garnered a lot of support, 40,000 votes and more, beating 9 other contestants, this man never enjoyed his time in parliament to represent his people fully. Because as soon as the parliament started, he was arrested on very serious charges. Charges on counts of murder and manslaughter, subversion. When he got out, the man fell sick. He was in hospital month after month. In Uganda, in Kenya, and in Europe. And he's dying when the next electoral program has been released for elections. I can imagine probably there's not going to be even a by-election in Kawempe, because the time is so short remaining to change the leadership of members of parliament. So probably the people of Kawempe will have to wait and vote in an entirely new member of parliament, considering that the time remaining is very short. By the time it is gazetted, by the time they go for voters, display and, nomination, all that kind of stuff, we shall be probably in the next electoral cycle. So I suppose there won't be. So I'm opening the lines right now so that you two can have your say on this man and what you remember of him. Tell us what you think about what has been his contribution, what has been the impact of Ssegirinya in the politics of Uganda. And I want to read the line so that you can be able to make that call. And in subsequent minutes, we shall be getting different leaders to speak about their colleague, because I suppose they know him better. So the numbers you'll be calling on are 0751 933 900. Let me repeat that. 0751 933 900. You can also reach me on 0701 933 934 or 0393 266 933. I already have a call online. Okay, you could try. I think we're having a problem with that caller. You have a communication challenge with that line. We're going to try again. Yes, I have a call online. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, good evening, sir. How are you today?
I am okay. Thanks for the show.
You're welcome.
This is Kode.
Yes, Kode. Go right ahead, sir. What do you remember of this man? For you, what stood out in the brand of politics that was exhibited by the late now Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya?
Yes, two things. One, when he went to parliament, most Ghanaians didn't. We had doubts whether he's really going to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a manifesto. It was like in 6 months. These are the things I'm going to do for my constituency.
Mm.
And indeed, all the MPs have been there. When you have to, what have you done for your constituency? Normally, you can't even find any. But for what the late has done, for sure, I salute Mr. Update. He has done for Kawempe North. In the shortest, he knew what his people wanted. And when he went to Parliament, 6 months, definitely, he has tried to make sure his people are okay.
Considering that the man was unwell most of the time and in jail the other time.
Exactly. And he all the time will think of his people. There's a time they could share videos when he has gone to ordinary people, picking children who are really bad if they need help, and he could do that. I salute his heart. Then secondly, showed me that whatever we do, and even the sickness, because now we got time of sickness which disturb them, and there's allegations, the charges of the Vijambia which happened in Masaka. Despite all those challenges he went through, he knew what Ugandans want. He wanted to change a better Uganda, a better life for all ordinary citizens. And for me, and he even told us that in Parliament, doesn't need all people with only PhDs and masters. Even the level of education he had and he managed to be in Parliament was able to deliver what we are witnessing now, and the legacy has left behind for us. Thanks for the show, Mr. Pat.
Thank you, Mr. Kode, for your submission. Let me also try to get another Ugandan who and want to hear what they remember, how they will remember Muhammad Ssegirinya. Hello.
Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Annette.
Yes.
Ssegirinya, I remember him for being generous. He was quite a generous man with his people.
Okay.
Even with the little time that he had, as soon as, even before he went to Parliament, he was giving to his people. He thought of the person who could relate to. My only, what can I say?
Experience.
My heart is heavy. My heart is heavy that his party sort of loves him now that he's dead. They didn't support him when he was in prison, when he was out of prison. I felt that they abandoned him.
This is the feeling you get that they abandoned him? But I think they were, and to be fair to them, I think they were going there to see him one day.
When he got out of prison, I didn't hear much from them. Honestly, this is what I think.
Okay.
Now that he's dead, I think they are overdoing it. I don't know. That's my feeling.
Annette,
that's what I think.
Annette, thank you so much. Well, he's been quite an extraordinary guy and loved by his people, but also had his own kind of style of leadership and, a bit comical here and there. And he was such a big force on social media, calling himself Mr. Update. And also the journalists loved him to be able to cover him and do his things, run around with him sometimes. So we'll have another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Dickens.
Dickens.
Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening, Dickens. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes. What I can say about what happened this morning in this country, the great country called Uganda, especially about Honorable Ssegirinya. I remember quite one thing that stood out for me is you don't have to be having a degree to make a contribution for your people. Once you know and you're with them, and you know the challenges that they're going through. That's enough. So when you went there, he knew, this is what I want for my people, this is what my people want. So within the 6 months, he was there. Was able to deliver. But the other thing that beats my understanding is how he was incarcerated for a year plus. And yet no evidence was stable against him. Now that he's dead, with that proceed. That one, the state knows. Thank you very much, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you very much, Dickens. I'm sure many people will be asking themselves, why really? Why incarcerate him for this long and yet you have no proof of such a very dangerous allegations? We have another call online. Hello.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Patrick.
Yes, who am I talking? What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Brian from Kireka.
Brian from Kireka. Go right ahead, sir.
Yes. First and foremost, I would like to say, may his soul rest in peace.
Amen.
Yeah, my friend, Mr. Ssegirinya has left us very big challenge. Yeah, because we've seen we had leaders meeting for people, and we also have leaders who gave back to the people. Mr. Ssegirinya has given everything to the people of Kawe. Whatever they needed, he always made sure some people received what you could.
Okay. Okay, Brian, thank you very much. And, I can hear, it looks like over 40,000 votes that he got in Kawempe, beating those 9 other contenders was not in vain. At least he did what he could, and he deserved that win. Looks like this was really a man of the people in his constituency. We're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Amar, and we are remembering the life of the Member of Parliament representing Kawempe North, the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, who passed on today at Rubaga Hospital after a long spell of illness that has taken him to several hospitals in Uganda, in East Africa, in Netherlands, and in Germany. We're now joined by the head of institutions at the National Unity Platform, Mr. David Musiri. David, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Patrick Kamara, and all listeners, dear listeners. of the hot seat.
Thank you for finding time. Thank you for finding time to join us, Mr. David Musiri. I understand you are at the Makerere Kavule party headquarters of the National Unity Platform, where the vigil is. But for you who is there, maybe bring us to speed on what people really are talking about the life and the works of Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, and you yourself, David, what you remember about the man.
Yeah, we have a lot of stories around Makerere Kavule. Right now we are at the headquarters paying tribute to Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya. There is a lot of, it is all about testimonies. Everyone has a testimony. He has been touched, he has been somehow reached out by Honorable Ssegirinya in one or the other. So I want to tell you that one of the things that I appreciate on Honorable Elect Ssegirinya, he has been the true definition of from the dust to the throne. He has gone through all. I am on. Let me finish this.
Okay.
Sorry for the interruption. I was saying, Honorable Ssegirinya has a track record that is so prudent, and I would say it is self-explanatory.
David? Is it not interesting? Is it not interesting, David, to know that this is a man who did not have enough time to represent his people, because as soon as he was elected, a few months later, he's incarcerated. After that, he falls sick. But even though in such challenges, he seemed to have been able to touch his people.
That's exactly what people are doing here. Actually, people are walking all the way from villages. He did not only touch people with constituents, he has touched people from all over the country. This is the man we are celebrating today. I would call it celebration because he deserves it. He's one of the men that we can celebrate. Muhammad Ssegirinya, I can tell you, me personally, he paid the rent. You can imagine, I was also an aspiring member of parliament, but in addition to supporting you through, for example, posters and the like, he could go an extra mile to buy you posters. That is Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya.
And that is also in the middle of his own campaign.
Yes. And he has done tremendous, I am telling you, a man who started just like a telephone caller on radios and TV. That's right. Imagine that's right. And he reached the climax. It is very, very hard. He's one of the people that we can term as the ghetto gladiator because he came from nothing to something. One of the things I can tell you, there are people who have been dropping out of school. He has taken them back to school. He has given people a chance to have a life in this country, the economy of this country. But he's one of the people that we can celebrate now. And I am telling you, he has not been on a member of parliament because we know, Kampala does not only represent his constituency, but he represents all the issues.
Okay, we're having a problem, David. We're now having a problem with the line, David. But thank you so much, David, for your contribution and to tell us what you remember about this man that is so much loved by the people. He was serving, that was David Musiri, head of institutions at the National Unity Platform. He was talking to us at Kavule, the party headquarters of the National Unity Platform. I have a call online.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Good evening, Patrick.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Tony. I'm calling from Kasubi here.
From Kasubi.
I thank you for the program.
You're welcome, sir.
I listen to you carefully every evening.
I'm humbled to hear that. Thank you.
I am always sad that when we disagree with the other side, somebody should not be killed. This guy was incarcerated, taken, he didn't come back. Today he has already gone. But if I disagree with you, we all need to be there. This country is ours. This one set a very bad record for our country.
So for you...
We're still behind.
So you're concluding on this show that there was foul play in this.
Exactly.
Okay, I don't want to get into that. I don't want to get into a conversation that I cannot substantiate, but you have your opinion. I have to respect that. And probably people who are responsible will continue to look for justice in case you think there was no justice for the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya. Thank you so much. Our caller there from Kasubi. You know, we have another caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Daphne from Chiwenda.
I'm sorry?
Daphne from Chiwenda.
Daphne from Chiwenda. Go right ahead, Daphne.
It's quite sad knowing that Ssegirinya is gone. You know, I grew up in his constituency.
In Kawempe.
And yes. But I believe we had never gotten someone that has passion for a constituency like him.
Okay.
But from the time when he was elected, the very first 3 months, you could see that he was doing his very best until he was arrested. It's quite unfortunate that his sickness was taken as a joke.
Yes.
That some people even mocked him, saying he was just playing. I keep on wondering.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, definitely. You're actually bringing a very crucial point. There's a time when people thought, no, that these guys are faking it up. Yes, I remember that.
Indeed, and I wonder what people are actually thinking right now.
I know. I remember that. Definitely.
After making a statement of that time, because internet never forgets. You post something, you mock someone about their sickness, and then today they are pronounced dead. I don't know what those people are actually thinking.
I think they should apologize.
They should literally apologize.
Thank you, Daphne, for your contribution. This is, there are people who can be in a simple way, but in that simple way, be able to contribute to society in an amazing manner. And so it appears also Muhammad Ssegirinya was that kind of man. It was going to be very difficult, I suppose, for the National Unity Platform to find a person who is going to fill into the shoes of Muhammad Ssegirinya in that particular constituency that he's been representing of Kawempe North. No wonder they also called him a ghetto gladiator. And yes, he was a ghetto gladiator because he was able to understand his people very well, to speak their language, to know their pain, to see the opportunities they have, to listen to them and take these issues to Parliament. At one point he said, representing the people you don't have to have a PhD or a master's degree, but just understand your people, know their pain, look for opportunities for them, help them where you can, be with them when they are hurting. And that's what exactly he did, even though he did it for a short while. We have another call online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, sir?
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Musa. I'm calling from Uganda.
Yes, go right ahead, sir.
Banang, it is so sad that Ssegirinya has gone at a very early age.
Yes.
But I'm not happy with those people who make fun of his sickness. Like, I want to meet that guy and I box him.
Don't bring violence on radio.
For sure, once I'm Fumbiro, the way he used to talk is like I want to meet him one day.
No, don't go there. Don't go there, my brother. We cannot give you a platform where you're going to sow seeds of discord and violence. It's not a good idea. But he has an office. He's a deputy spokesperson, I think, of the party. You can go to NUP headquarters and log in your complaint about what you know about Mfumbira, but not on the platform here. I hope you understand that. Okay, so looks like some people were really touched. And in his days, I'm beginning to understand this man more than even when he was alive because of the testimonies of the people who are talking now here and those who are talking at the NUP headquarters. I have another call of mine. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm called Moses. I'm calling from Kampala.
Moses in Kampala. Go right ahead, sir.
Really, the nation will really lost a dear person. We have seen Ssegirinya in social media. I've never met him personally, but whatever he was doing this with passion. As you say, the guy came from nowhere, and well-educated person that has managed to prove people with PhDs and what that. It's not all about your education level. It's all about the heart to work for the people. We have seen a lot in his short term into office. He did something really tremendous for the people of North Kawempe.
You did.
Whatever happened to him when they accused him of having these gangs in Masaka killing people, no one knows. It's him and God or Allah. But it wasn't good that happened to his life. May his soul rest in peace.
Amen. Thank you very much. We're going to take a break, and the hot seat will be right back. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the hot seat. My name is Patrick Amara, and tonight we're remembering the life of the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament for Kawempe North, on the NUP ticket, who passed on this afternoon at 12:10 p.m. at Ruvaga Hospital. And, after a long illness that has taken him through many hospitals within Uganda, in Aga Khan Hospital, Nairobi, in the Netherlands and Germany. I have a caller online. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, good evening. I'm Robert from Namayumba.
Robert in Namayumba.
Yes.
Go right ahead and have your say, Robert.
Yes, it's very pity to lose Ssegirinya at such a young age. I've been following him, but since he has been taken away. He has served his people diligently. We can continue to remember him. May his soul rest in peace.
Thank you very much. And they're calling from Namayumba. And, it's a pity. We also here at KFM mourn with the family and of the political family and his real family in Masaka and the people of Kawempe, and grieve with them as we remember the life of this man. We have another caller online. Hello.
Mr. Kamara, you are live at Busega here.
Busega. This is Juma, I suppose.
Yeah, I'm the one.
Yes, go right ahead, Juma, and tell us what you think about the life of this man.
Before Ssegirinya, maybe you let me give you flowers for bringing it immediately to say something about the late.
Yes.
I may beg the nation at the moment, this trying moment, let's first take politics put aside. Let's try to see how we can mourn together with the family of the late Ssegirinya and the friends. And there are some people who don't know how to cry. If you don't know how to cry on public, you're accusing each and everything, then you are going to disappoint Allah. So that's what we don't feel it good in scriptures of Muslims. Let the dead rest in peace, and you, the remainders, we are the one, we have to make sure we pray for the soul of the deceased.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juma. And I have a brother in Fort Portal who says Honorable Ssegirinya was comic, was free-spirited, was genuine, was generous, and was harmless. These are the words of Aboki Fred Karamagi. Thank you, Aboki Fred, for your comment about this man. True, he was comic, he was free-spirited, he was genuine, he was generous, and was harmless. He had a short time on earth, a short time in serving his people, but it looks like he touched them. He listened to them. He served them. He understood them. He was with them. He knew their pain, and he looked for opportunities for them, and that was the man. And he seemed to have known now more about Ssegirinya in his death than when he was alive. I had an opportunity to meet him at a conference in Munyonyo organized by the former leader of opposition, Matthias Impuga. And at that moment, I remember him trying to joke with me, even though I thought he didn't know me. I could see him struggling in life, looking frail a bit, but he tried to joke with me. That's the time I shared with the Honorable now late Muhammad Ssegirinya. We have now been joined by Mr. George Musisi. George Musisi is a lawyer, human rights defender, who has been at court for the many battles with the family, and I can imagine George understands the late Honorable Ssegirinya very well, and indeed other political leaders, because you've been trying to fight for them. George Musisi, thank you so much for joining us. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Patrick. Sad news about the death of our brother, our legislator, the late Honorable Muhammad. I think he perfected the art of community mobilization amongst politics.
So
And
for
which
you,
made him-
as a lawyer, as a human rights defender, as somebody who has dealt with so many politicians, and some of them have been facing serious battles, legal challenges in Uganda, what stands out for this Muhammad Ssegirinya man? Because it looks like he really knew his people. He really knew which buttons to touch, to press.
What stands out for me was he was a mobilizer. And Patrick, many times when they talk about leaders, some of us believe that leadership is impact. So what stands out for me is that Ssegirinya was a community mobilizer, and he knew which language, how to address the people, and how to influence. I can vividly recall one example when the campaign team of the NUP president was arrested in Kalangala. And they were arraigned in court on 4th January 2021 in Masaka, over 100 of them. I handled, together with two of my colleagues, the bail application, and they were all granted bail, which was cash bail, some 200,000, some 100. In total, we needed about 20 million to pay bail for the accused person. And remember, they were remanded because we didn't have the money then. Ssegirinya came to court at Masaka when we needed the money outside. He went on his Facebook Live page, started mobilizing the money, and in a space of about 3 hours, he had collected 17 million.
Wow.
And we had to clear that. And for me, that really stands out. He collected the money from going live on his Facebook, and people are sending in money, including people from out of Uganda.
Wow.
So for me, it was he was that kind of person that you can blame him for all other, but he was an influencer, he was a mobilizer, and he was effective in that, which
and it looks like he had the art of understanding the people. He had the art of listening to them, knowing their pain, and really, being with them, and people believing, even though sometimes he looked comical, sometimes he was free-spirited, he was there, but in that comical manner, people still trusted him, and people still believed him, and they thought he was fighting for them.
That's true. That's the point. That in his own style, in his own, you can call it comical, you can call it loose. It could deliver results. It could influence. In fact, death and sickness and prison and the injustice he was faced with denied us a chance of seeing how he would have impacted. Because we all can't deny the fact that legislators, on top of we know that they have their constitutional state obligations, but they are leaders, and our people have real needs. That's why you find MPs buying ambulances, So in that case, I think death has denied and sickness Kawempe, a type of person who
Uganda in general
would have done in the 5 years. And Uganda in general, what would Ssegirinya have done in the 5 years, given what he had done, even prior to swearing in? Patrick, you should remember that Ssegirinya is one of those people. He started operating his clinic shortly after swearing in. I think about 2 weeks after swearing in. In fact, I remember a member of parliament, whom I won't disclose, from a constituency in Uganda, telling me that Ssegirinya is making us look bad because we've not been sworn in, but the man has bought an ambulance. So, and the ambulance comes as far as our constituencies. So that was Ssegirinya for you in his own style. He had his own old thinking, but was impactful.
At the time of his death, he was still battling cases in court. Before that, on many occasions, they were pleased to take him for treatment and yet from remand, and that was delayed. So cases running for 2 years. Now, what does it mean, Mr. George Mishisi, for administration of justice, delayed court cases, remand for months? He spent 524 days on remand.
Patrick, I think the death of Honorable Ssegirinya should also be used to shine the spotlight on issues of pre-trial remand. If a person facing a capital offense is committed to the High Court for trial, you don't have a set time within which you can be tried, meaning people can be in custody even for 7 years without trial. And remember, those are suspects. Ssegirinya is a classical example. We know how the courts almost denied him a chance to hear his bail application. He was granted bail, rearrested, and the subsequent bail application was caught up in the ping pong. We know how they set the bar so high for his release. We know that even up to now, the so-called trial has never been fixed for hearing. In fact, some of Ssegirinya colleagues, co-accused, are still in custody. So I think we should use that to shine a light that the judiciary, mindful of the constitutional command that judicial power should be exercised in accordance with people's aspirations, did they do all they can for this sick person?
From where you sit, Mr. George Musisi, as a human rights defender and a lawyer, and you're always in court trying to defend many people, I'm sure even yourself, you're baffled by how much, human rights violation goes on and the cases of the people you represent. Do you, as an individual, also feel a sense of frustration that you're pushing something almost immovable?
Certainly, there's a sense of frustration. I can give two quick examples. One, the issue of backlog. For starters, we know the challenges of accessing court. We know the challenges of asserting your rights in court, that you have to get a lawyer. But then again, even when you approach court, getting your case heard and determined, and then getting the fruits of your judgment, it's a long story. And then there's the other challenge that I've already highlighted, the issue of pre-trial remand, that capital offenders, suspects on capital offenses, don't have a set time within our laws, within which they should be tried. It's one of the biggest human rights abuses, which is even institutionalized in our laws. Because people, the Ssegirinyas, can spend as many years. Ssegirinya was even lucky that he was a member of parliament, that he had a known name. But there are so many others who are there, who can't even get a chance to get their bail application heard, who can't even get a lawyer, and some of them, of course, end up going into plea bargaining for purposes of getting the quickest way out of jail. So it's sad, it's a travesty, and I think we should not be losing people, suspects, because of conditions in which they are detained.
Let me, before you leave, before we let you go, Mr. George Musisi, I was about to call you Mujisha. Mr. George Musisi, there, as a lawyer, probably bring us to speed if you can. Now that he has died at this time, are we likely to see any kind of a by-election? Just a election? Does a by-election stand for this, or they have to wait? Kawempe will have to wait for 2026 general election?
No, the law says 6 months, so certainly there will have to be a by-election. It's not within the... If a member dies 6 months prior to the by-election, to the general election, then there is no... But now that it's much more than that, there shall be a by-election. There's a requirement for a by-election, yes.
Oh, okay. I can imagine. So I want to thank you so much, George Musisi, human rights defender. Thank you so much, sir. Welcome back to 933 KFM, and this is the Hot Seat. My name is Patrick Kamara, and tonight we are remembering the life of Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, Member of Parliament representing Kawempe North, who passed on this afternoon at 12 p.m. at Vaga Hospital at the age of 37. But even at that young age of 37, this man was able to touch the lives of very many people in his constituency, to understand their pain, to understand what they go through, to really know the common person at the lowest level in his constituency. And they loved him, he loved them back. Unfortunately, he was not able to represent them fully because he was fighting court battles and also fighting for his life, and in different hospitals, and eventually he has died. And but that is what he went through, and we have been giving an opportunity for each one of you to express yourselves, and we have learned much more about this man in his death than even in his life, because whoever is giving a testimony is just a beautiful testimony about the man. And now we are joined by Honorable Mwanda Nkunyingi, Member of Parliament for Chadondo East. Honorable Nkunyingi, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
We share in your grief for the loss of your comrade and colleague in Parliament, and I understand many of you are gathered at the NUP headquarters in Makerere Kavulu. You know this man more than I do, and more than other Ugandans. For you, what really stood out for this man, the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya?
First of all, we thank the Almighty Allah that a part of his achievement as a human being, and for us as members of the paramilitary Muslim caucus and the Muslim community, he embraced Islam at his adult age. I recall a time when he appeared before me and other lawyers and declared that from today I want to change my name from Ssegirinya Richard to Ssegirinya Muhammad. I even recall drafting his report. And that is the Ssegirinya I recall. He used to visit me with his children. He loved his children. There was one called Ssegirinya. Wherever he could visit, he could come with them. He was a loving father, a loving husband to the family.
Oh, so you mean he had recently converted to Islam?
I can confirm without doubt that I personally, as an advocate, through his report, when he was taking them from Richard to Muhammad, and they had already converted to Islam. He actually did the paperwork thereafter. I can confirm that I was with him and was well gazetted in the Uganda Gazette. And that was after his change of his religion to Islam. He converted to Islam and he died as a Muslim. Indeed, even in his late hours of sickness, you could see him in the Muslim attire at all times. Yes. Probably he devoted so much of his last days to God. He was a very dedicated leader who we have missed a lot. He in his pursuit for the rule of law and good governance, he was selfless.
You know, what is also painful, Honorable Mwadda, what is painful is that, most of the time he was facing these court battles and then evidence is not even brought, and he's also fighting for his life, and he spent 524 days on remand. But even though he was not so much available for his people, the little time he had, he did what he could and had an impact.
The Ssegirinya we are discussing is a Ssegirinya who started way back as a radio caller. He used to call himself the voice of Chewando. Later, he stood and became a councillor at Kampala Capital Authority. So he served as a councillor. He has not got time to serve as a member of parliament because from the time of his election, he faced numerous challenges, including the last detention. And what we can only recall is that he used to be energetic and lively. We are still questioning ourselves at what stage did his health now turn into a disaster. And from his narrative, when he was released in prison, there were questions as to how he was treated in prison, how come he attained this kind of sickness. We shall await for an extensive investigation. But needless to say, whereas, like any Ugandan, he could be suspected of any offense, but he wasn't given the rights of a suspect as expected, like the right to bail. He used to plead that I want to get proper medication. Probably his delayed access to medication might partly be a cause of what we are now witnessing today. Because as any suspect before trial, he has the right to bail. And when you quote health issues, it's among the most notorious reasons and which are normally acceptable in a court proceeding. We are questioning ourselves, why wouldn't court allow him to access medication on bail? Yes, anyone can be a suspect. Anyone can be tried. But the rights of a suspect were not granted to Ssegirinya as expected. We find it concerning and must be lesson to all courts of judicature, including the court martial.
And if at that level your right is not given, what about others who do not have a platform like his?
I think Ssegirinya faced the direct persecution from the regime and from the state, and I think his days cannot be the end of investigation. We must demand for answers. But in terms of society and community, Ssegirinya was selfless. You could see him, I call him in COVID, he could sacrifice his life and support people, go to families, visit families. He was very social, very caring, and he was very vocal. Because he stood for what is right. He was fearless. Ssegirinya has been an industrious young Ugandan who we have missed in his pursuit for a better country. Ssegirinya will be missed forever. But what we have to do now is to pray for him. As a Muslim, we are told that when someone goes, first of all, it's predetermined by Allah. We only say Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. It is from Allah we come from, and it's Allah we return. However, Islam allows us to a line of investigation. What was the cause? We demand for thorough investigation. But as well, what is so demanding of us is to pray for him, for the Almighty to pardon him where he wrong, and to grant him and accept all his good deeds. These are the things. These are the things we pray for as Muslims. These are the things we pray for as leaders. We only pray for that Allah is grant him Jannah. But we are saddened by his death. Indeed, as you said at the beginning, we are gathered here at Kavule for a vigil where we have had a session of prayer and supplication to pray for the Almighty to grant him, to accept him and accept his deeds, and also forgive his deeds. And there have been a series of speeches from leaders, from religious leaders, and which are continuing. The vigil will continue overnight. And we also have anticipate to attend the parliamentary session tomorrow, where his body will be taken. Later in the afternoon at Imbogo, where there will be another funeral prayer at Imbogo Mosque. And then the burial, which has been announced for Sunday. All these, we are going to use all this time to basically pray for him and recall the good times and the achievements that he leaves behind.
All right. I want to thank you so much, Honorable Mwanda Nkunyengi, for your contribution. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, that's the life and times of the Honorable Muhammad Ssegirinya, and many people giving very positive testimony about the man. But also, I also want to let you know that today we also lost a former member of parliament, a former Koboko district woman MP, the Honorable Margaret Babadiri. Margaret Babadiri died today at the age of 71. She first joined the parliament as a legislator representing persons with disabilities in 1996. She was in parliament for 5 terms. The Honorable Babadiri was a member of the Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, State Authorities and State Enterprises, COSASE, and the Education and Sports Committee. Margaret Babadiri, may her soul also rest in peace. And maybe I should also bring you to speed again on the tentative burial program. The body is today at Makerere Kavule for a night vigil at the party headquarters. On Friday, the body will be taken to Parliament at 9 a.m. for the MPs to pay their tribute to him. Later on, the body of Muhammad Ssegirinya will be taken to the mosque at Imbogo, at Kawempe Mbogo. After that, the body will be taken to his home in Kasangati for a night vigil before being taken to Masaka. And the tentative program also says he'll be buried on Sunday in Butale, Kadugala, Masaka district. And so, I suppose that's what we can say about the man. At the age of 37, he was able to touch the lives of very many people. In his funny way, in his simple way, in his humorous way, he was able to understand the pain of his people and serve them. And it's going to be a very difficult challenge for whoever is going to get in the shoes of Muhammad Ssegirinya to represent the people of Kawempe. He battled 9 contestants and beat them all with a landslide. What a man this was. Unfortunately, he was not able to represent his people like he had wanted because he faced court battles. And after court battles, he was also battling with life challenges of health. And today at 12:10 p.m. at Ruaga Hospital, he succumbed to the diseases that were battling him. And let us also come to the end of tonight's edition of this show, of the Hot Seat. We share in the grief and condone with his family. I can understand now in Kawempe, there's a somber mood and a sorrowful mood at the home of Muhammad Ssegirinya. And this is it for us. Good night, and God bless Uganda.